Non-objective thumbnails. If you get to the point you have your 6 thumbnails done and you have to figure out how to shade and which one to choose. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go in and decide what you like. So out of your 6 thumbnails that you've created, obviously you can see that I've done a few more, but out of your 6 thumbnails that you've created, what do you like the most? So let's say that I'm looking at mine and I decide that I really like this aspect, but I'm not a huge fan of this area. I think that's really boring. So maybe I cut this off here. No, I kind of like that area. So I'm going to cut it off here instead. So if I'm cutting my box off here, I can extend that out just a hair and bring that down. So if this is my new declared box, I'm going to extend out this specific spot. If this was a circle, or maybe it wasn't a circle, maybe it was a little curly Q or a wave that had extended like so. Okay, so that's my new box that I've decided on. Now I have to shade this. When I am shading, your circles are going to be spheres, right? And we already have practice on drawing spheres, so we can just plot those in. And for this one, we're not doing cast shadows because non-objective art, it's going to be a little bit different. You're not going to have a designated horizon line, for example, just like in here, but you will have a background, a middle ground, and a foreground, right? So you're going to be able to see exactly what's in front, exactly what's behind, and that's going to be dependent on your shading, your placement of your objects, and all that good stuff. The way you shade is going to be up to you. With your wiggly objects, if you have wiggly objects like I do, you can curl your objects in and curl the shading in from the side. So I'm making it darker on the edges and bringing it up. And then I can just go in with a blending stump and soften out those edges if I want to. Now it's very important that the objects that are closest to you are quite dark. Objects that are closest to you are very, very dark because just like in that creating space video that we watched and did, we want to implement those techniques when creating our thumbnails. And the one we talked about in this particular instance would be value and focus. So value and focus, the stuff that's further away, you wouldn't be able to see quite as well. So you need to factor that in. Don't forget about your highlights. You don't want everything to get too grayed out. Blending stump can soften up your lines, bring everything up. And that's actually how I'm also doing my background. Your background, you want a value in, but it's going to be very light. And this is a shape, not background. So that's coming forward. But my area around it is going to be very, very light. You can tell in this one that I have an even lighter spot as opposed to some of my background area that's darker. If you want to fluctuate yours and have it change, that's going to be up to you. All right. Now, because I extended my box, I have this line right here. If you wanted to get rid of that, you definitely can. So it's not visually confusing for you. Continuing up with my shading, and this is going to circle around. For a lot of your objects, all of your objects really, they should have a very, very dark tone, a medium tone, and a very light spot or your highlight. So you want to make sure that you're factoring all of those in as you shade through. And that's going to help create depth within your piece and bring it some life. And that is how you shade, and it can end up looking like any one of these. Good luck.